Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to speak with you today about something that can transform not only your life, but the lives of those around you, learning to control your mouth, your mind, your mood, and your money. Now, these four areas may seem unrelated, but they are the cornerstones of success and fulfillment. If you master them, you'll not only live a more disciplined and productive life, but you'll also unlock doors to opportunities you didn't even know existed. Control your mouth. The first area we need to control is our mouth. What comes out of your mouth can either build you up or tear you down. Words are powerful. They can heal, inspire, motivate, or they can wound, discourage, and destroy. Most people don't understand how much weight their words carry. But think about it, a harsh word spoken in anger can ruin relationships. On the other hand, a well-timed word of encouragement can spark hope and ignite action. Lesson number one, think before you speak. Ask yourself, is what I'm about to say helpful or is it harmful? Will it uplift or will it tear down? Don't let your mouth run your life. If you can learn to control your words, you can change your world. Control your mind. Next is your mind. The battle for your future is fought here, in the space between your ears. What you allow into your mind will shape your beliefs, your decisions, and ultimately your destiny. Every thought you entertain either pulls you closer to your goals or drags you away from them. The key to controlling your mind is being intentional about what you focus on. Garbage in, garbage out, as they say. Feed your mind with ideas, knowledge, and inspiration that will help you grow, not with negativity or distractions that will tear you down. Control what you allow into your mental space. Watch what you read, watch who you listen to, and watch what you dwell on. You can't afford to fill your mind with poison and expect to live a prosperous life. Control your mood. Now let's talk about mood. Emotions are a powerful thing. They can make us act impulsively or they can freeze us in fear. But the truth is, we can choose how we respond to our emotions. It's a common misconception that we have no control over our feelings. We do. You may not be able to control the situation, but you can control how you respond to it. If you let every little thing upset you, you'll spend your life bouncing from crisis to crisis, always reacting and never acting. But if you can learn to control your mood, to maintain a steady course, no matter what storms come your way, you'll have an edge over most people. Here's the secret: start by controlling the small irritations. Don't let a bad morning ruin your day. Don't let one negative person throw you off course. Your mood is your choice. Choose wisely. Control your money. And finally, money. This is the one area where most people feel like they're out of control. But money, like anything else in life, responds to discipline. If you don't tell your money where to go, it will disappear. The truth is, how you handle your money says a lot about how you handle your life. Some people think money management is all about getting rich, but it's not. It's about freedom. It's about having the ability to make choices instead of being forced into situations because of financial stress. And the way to control your money is to have a plan. Budget your income. Spend less than you earn. Invest wisely, and most importantly, learn the power of delayed gratification. $1 saved today can be $2 tomorrow if you're patient. Money doesn't solve all problems, but financial stress will make most problems worse. So take control. Master your money before it masters you. The power of mastery. Here's the big idea: when you learn to control your mouth, your mind, your mood, and your money, you are taking control of your life. You're no longer a passenger on the journey. You're the driver. You decide the direction, the speed, and the destination. Most people spend their entire lives reacting to circumstances. Don't be like most people. Be intentional. Be disciplined. Success isn't something that happens to you. It's something you create by mastering the small things day by day, choice by choice. Words are one of the most powerful tools we possess. They can build bridges or burn them, heal wounds or inflict them, inspire change or reinforce complacency. Often people underestimate the impact of their words, not realizing how a single sentence can leave a lasting impression. When we speak, we aren't merely sharing information or expressing our feelings. We are shaping the way others see the world, how they perceive us, and even how they view themselves. The power of words is undeniable, and learning to control them is essential for anyone seeking personal growth, better relationships, and success in any area of life. The challenge with words is that once spoken, they cannot be taken back. A momentary lapse in judgment or a sudden emotional outburst can have lasting repercussions both in our personal lives and professional environments. Think of the countless relationships that have been damaged or severed because of harsh, careless words spoken in anger or frustration. These words often linger in the minds of those on the receiving end long after the heat of the moment has passed. Apologies can be made, but the scars left by hurtful words may never fully heal. Conversely, the right words spoken at the right time can be transformative. A kind word of encouragement, an expression of gratitude, or a sincere compliment can uplift someone's spirit, give them hope, and inspire them to take action. It's a simple truth that words, though intangible, hold the power to shape the realities of others. The difference between tearing someone down and building them up often comes down to a few sentences or even a single word. Knowing this, it becomes crucial to take responsibility for the words we use and how we use them. One of the most important aspects of controlling your words is developing self-awareness. Before you speak, it's essential to pause and reflect. What are you trying to convey? How do you want your words to be received? What effect might they have on the person or people you're speaking to? This momentary pause may seem insignificant, but it's the difference between thoughtless, reactive speech and thoughtful, intentional communication. Self-awareness is the first step in learning to control your words. It allows you to recognize when emotions are driving your speech and gives you the opportunity to step back and choose a different, more constructive response. Emotions, especially negative ones like anger, frustration, or impatience, are often at the root of careless or harmful speech. When we're overwhelmed by emotions, we tend to speak impulsively, saying things we later regret. The ability to control your words then goes hand in hand with emotional regulation. It's about learning to manage your feelings so they don't dictate your actions. This doesn't mean suppressing your emotions or pretending they don't exist. Rather, it means acknowledging them, understanding them, and then deciding how you want to express them. A person who is in control of their emotions is far more likely to be in control of their words. For instance, imagine a situation where a colleague has made a mistake that impacts your work. Your immediate reaction might be anger, frustration, or disappointment, and your first instinct might be to lash out, pointing out their error in a harsh or accusatory manner. However, taking a moment to pause and reflect allows you to see the situation from a broader perspective. Instead of reacting emotionally, you can approach the conversation with understanding and patience. Perhaps the mistake was unintentional, or maybe your colleague is already feeling bad about it. By controlling your words, you can address the issue in a way that fosters learning and collaboration rather than creating tension and resentment. Another key element in controlling your words is understanding your audience. What might be appropriate or well received in one context could be completely inappropriate or offensive in another. The way you speak to a close friend is likely different from how you would address. Mastering the mind is one of the most crucial undertakings for anyone striving for personal growth, success, and fulfillment. The human mind is a powerful tool, arguably the most powerful tool we possess. It shapes our perceptions, decisions, and ultimately our destinies. Yet the mind is also a double-edged sword. Left unchecked, it can become a prison of limiting beliefs, negative thoughts, and emotional turmoil. Conversely, when properly trained and disciplined, the mind becomes a fertile ground for creativity, productivity, and achievement. Learning to master the mind is not a one-time task, but a lifelong journey that requires continuous effort and self-reflection. The first step toward mastering the mind is understanding its influence on your reality. Your thoughts shape the way you perceive the world, and in turn, your perception of the world shapes your experience of it. For example, if you constantly allow negative thoughts to take root in your mind, thoughts of doubt, fear, or pessimism, you begin to view the world through a lens of negativity. Opportunities that might be available to you appear limited or unattainable. Challenges feel overwhelming and setbacks seem permanent. This mental state becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because you believe you cannot succeed. You don't take the necessary actions to succeed, and thus you don't. On the other hand, when you cultivate a positive and growth-oriented mindset, your perception of the world changes. Challenges are no longer insurmountable obstacles, but opportunities for growth. Setbacks are not failures, but lessons that guide you toward success. In this way, the mind can become a powerful ally in shaping a more fulfilling life. By choosing to focus on constructive, empowering thoughts, you lay the foundation for a reality that reflects those thoughts. However, mastering the mind is not simply about positive thinking. While optimism is important, it's equally critical to understand the nature of thought itself. The mind is constantly bombarded with stimuli, images, sounds, emotions, and experiences, all of which contribute to an endless stream of thoughts. These thoughts can range from practical concerns to irrational fears, from creative ideas to self-defeating doubts. The problem is not that we think, but that we often allow ourselves to be ruled by our thoughts without questioning their validity or usefulness. One of the greatest challenges in mastering the mind is learning to distinguish between thoughts that serve us and those that do not. Many people mistakenly assume that just because a thought enters their mind, it must be true or important. This couldn't be further from the truth. Thoughts are often fleeting, irrational, or based on subconscious fears and insecurities. The mind is capable of generating both constructive and destructive thoughts, and it's up to us to choose which ones to entertain. To gain control over your thoughts, you must become an observer of your mind rather than a slave to it. This process is often referred to as mindfulness, the practice of becoming aware of your thoughts without becoming attached to them. When you cultivate mindfulness, you begin to recognize patterns in your thinking. You become aware of when your mind is generating useful, creative thoughts that can propel you forward, and when it is spiraling into negativity or fear. Instead of automatically reacting to these thoughts, you learn to step back, observe them, and make a conscious choice about how to respond. For instance, imagine you are about to embark on a new project at work. As you begin, a thought pops into your head. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough in the past? You might have accepted this thought as truth, allowing it to sabotage your efforts before you've even begun. But by mastering your mind, you can recognize this thought for what it is, a mere possibility, not a certainty. Instead of allowing the thought to take control, you can choose to replace it with a more empowering one, such as, I have the skills and knowledge to succeed, and even if I encounter challenges, I will learn and grow from them. Another important aspect of mastering the mind is learning to focus. In today's fast-paced, hyper-connected world, distraction is everywhere. Our attention is constantly pulled in multiple directions: social media, news, entertainment, work, personal obligations, and this makes it difficult to concentrate on any one thing for an extended period of time. Yet focus is essential for success in any endeavor. Without focus, our efforts become scattered and diluted. We may start many tasks, but we rarely finish them with the level of quality or care they require. To master your mind, you must train it to focus on what truly matters. This requires discipline and intention. It means setting clear goals and priorities and then allocating your mental energy toward those things, rather than being distracted by every shiny object or passing whim. One way to cultivate focus is through the practice of meditation. Meditation trains the mind to remain present and centered even in the midst of distraction. By sitting quietly and focusing on your breath, a mantra or a specific thought, you learn to quiet the mental chatter and bring your attention to the present moment. Over time, this practice strengthens your ability to concentrate on tasks for longer periods without becoming distracted. In addition to focus, mastering the mind also involves developing mental resilience. Life is filled with challenges, setbacks, and unexpected obstacles. No matter how well you plan or how hard you work, there will always be moments when things don't go according to your expectations. In these moments, it's easy for the mind to fall into despair, frustration, or fear. But a mind that has been mastered knows how to navigate adversity with grace and resilience. Mental resilience is the ability to bounce back from difficulties, to maintain a sense of perspective even in the face of hardship. It's about not allowing temporary setbacks to define your overall trajectory. One of the best ways to develop mental resilience is by reframing challenges as opportunities for growth. Instead of viewing difficulties as reasons to give up, a resilient mind sees them as chances to learn and improve. Every failure becomes a stepping stone toward success. Every rejection an opportunity to refine your approach. Moreover, mastering the mind means being proactive in cultivating thoughts and habits that lead to long-term success and happiness. Our habits are the repeated actions we take day in and day out, and they are largely driven by our thoughts. If you constantly think thoughts of doubt and fear, your habits will reflect those thoughts. You may procrastinate, avoid taking risks, or settle for mediocrity. But if you train your mind to think in terms of possibilities, growth, and abundance, your habits will align with those thoughts. You will take action, seek out opportunities, and push yourself beyond your comfort zone. Habits of thought, just like physical habits, can be cultivated through repetition and consistency. Start by identifying the kinds of thoughts that align with the person you want to become. If you want to be more confident, begin by intentionally thinking thoughts that reinforce your self-worth. If you want to be more productive, train your mind to focus on the benefits of taking action rather than the temporary discomfort of hard work. Over time, these new thought patterns will become ingrained, just like any other habit. Finally, it's important to recognize that mastering the mind is not about achieving perfection. The mind will never be completely free of negative or distracting thoughts, and that's okay. The goal is not to eliminate these thoughts, but to learn how to manage them effectively. Mastering the mind is about developing the awareness, focus, and resilience necessary to direct your thoughts in ways that serve your highest goals. It's about creating a mental environment that supports your growth rather than hinders it. Mastery of the mind requires continuous effort, self-awareness, and patience. The process of mastering the mind is a journey, not a destination, and every step you take toward gaining control over your thoughts brings you closer to realizing your full potential. Managing your mood is one of the most vital yet overlooked aspects of personal development. Your mood dictates not only how you feel about yourself, but also how you interact with the world around you. And it affects your relationships, your productivity, and even your long-term success. While many people go through life reacting to their emotions as if they are out of control, learning to manage your mood gives you the power to navigate life more effectively. The idea that you can't control how you feel is a common misconception. In truth, you have more control over your emotional state than you might realize. This doesn't mean that you can snap your fingers and instantly change a negative feeling into a positive one, but it does mean that you can influence your mood by changing how you respond to the things happening around you. One of the key ways to manage your mood is by becoming aware of what triggers your emotional reactions. People often go through their days on autopilot, reacting to external stimuli without much thought. If someone cuts them off in traffic, they get angry. If they have a stressful day at work, they feel frustrated and carry that feeling home. If they face criticism, they may become defensive or feel hurt. But many of these emotional responses are conditioned, meaning they've developed over time without much conscious thought. Just because a certain situation has always triggered a certain emotional reaction in the past doesn't mean it has to in the future. Self-awareness is the first step toward breaking free from automatic emotional reactions. When you start paying attention to your emotional triggers, you begin to see patterns in your behavior. Maybe you notice that you always feel irritated in the morning before you've had your coffee. Or perhaps you realize that certain people tend to put you in a bad mood, even when they haven't done anything overtly wrong. Once you start to recognize these patterns, you can begin to make conscious decisions about how you want to respond. Instead of letting your emotions dictate your actions, you can choose to approach situations from a more balanced, thoughtful perspective. Another essential aspect of mood management is understanding the temporary nature of emotions. Many people allow their moods to define their entire day or week. If they wake up feeling anxious or sad, they assume that the entire day is ruined, and they carry that emotional burden with them throughout their daily activities. But emotions, by their very nature, are transient. They come and go like waves, rising in intensity and then eventually receding. When you learn to view your emotions as temporary experiences rather than permanent states of being, you can prevent yourself from getting stuck in negative moods for extended periods of time. Part of this process involves cultivating emotional resilience. Emotional resilience is the ability to bounce back from negative experiences and return to a stable emotional state. And it doesn't mean that you won't experience difficult emotions, but rather that you have the tools and mindset to recover from them more quickly. One way to build emotional resilience is by practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness involves becoming fully present in the moment and observing your emotions without judgment. Instead of labeling an emotion as good or bad, you simply acknowledge its presence and allow yourself to feel it without becoming consumed by it. For example, imagine you're feeling stressed about a deadline at work. Instead of letting that stress take over and affect your mood for the entire day, you can pause, take a few deep breaths, and acknowledge the feeling of stress without letting it control you. You might say to yourself, I'm feeling stressed right now because of this deadline, but I know this feeling will pass. I can choose to focus on what I can control rather than letting this stress overwhelm me. By practicing this kind of mindful self-talk, you can create space between yourself and your emotions, allowing you to manage them more effectively. Another crucial factor in managing your mood is the understanding that your thoughts and beliefs have a direct impact on your emotional state. Often it's not the events themselves that cause negative emotions, but the way you interpret those events. For example, if someone criticizes your work, you might immediately feel defensive or hurt. But what's really causing that feeling, it's not the criticism itself, but rather your interpretation of it. You might think, this person thinks I'm not good enough, or I'll never get this right, which in turn leads to feelings of inadequacy or frustration. By learning to challenge these kinds of automatic negative thoughts, you can change the way you experience emotions. Cognitive behavioral techniques are particularly useful for this. When you notice yourself having a negative emotional reaction, take a moment to examine the thought behind that reaction. Ask yourself whether that thought is rational or whether it's based on an assumption or fear. Often you'll find that your negative emotions are fueled by distorted thinking patterns such as catastrophizing, black and white thinking, or jumping to conclusions. By challenging these thought patterns and replacing them with more balanced, rational thoughts, you can significantly improve your mood. Another important element in mood management is the role of physical well-being. The mind and body are deeply interconnected, and your physical state has a direct impact on your emotional state. If you're not getting enough sleep, eating poorly, or neglecting physical exercise, it's much harder to maintain a stable, positive mood. Lack of sleep, for example, has been shown to increase irritability and decrease emotional regulation, making it more difficult to manage stress and frustration. Similarly, poor nutrition can lead to mood swings, fatigue, and difficulty concentrating. Regular physical exercise, on the other hand, has been proven to improve mood by releasing endorphins and reducing levels of stress hormones like cortisol. To manage your mood effectively, it's essential to take care of your physical health. Prioritize getting enough sleep, eat a balanced diet, and engage in regular physical activity. Even something as simple as a short walk outside can have a noticeable impact on your mood, helping to clear your mind and reduce stress. Physical well-being forms the foundation for emotional well-being, and without it, managing your mood becomes much more challenging. Another key aspect of mood management is setting healthy emotional boundaries. Many people allow their mood to be heavily influenced by the emotions and actions of others. If someone around them is in a bad mood, they quickly find themselves feeling the same way. While empathy is a valuable trait, it's important to recognize that you are not responsible for other people's emotions. Learning to set emotional boundaries means understanding where your feelings end and someone else's begin. You can offer support and understanding without allowing another person's emotional state to dictate your own. For instance, if a friend or colleague is having a bad day, you might naturally feel inclined to comfort them or offer advice. But if their negative mood starts to bring you down, it's important to take a step back and remind yourself that you don't have to absorb their emotions. You can maintain your own emotional balance while still being a supportive presence. Setting these kinds of emotional boundaries helps protect your mood from being overly influenced by external factors. Another strategy for managing your mood is to engage in activities that promote positive emotions. While it's important to learn how to manage negative emotions effectively, it's equally important to cultivate positive emotions like joy, gratitude, and contentment. One way to do this is by intentionally engaging in activities that bring you happiness and fulfillment. This might include hobbies, spending time with loved ones, practicing gratitude, or engaging in acts of kindness. Positive emotions not only improve your mood in the moment, but also contribute to long-term emotional well-being by fostering a more optimistic, resilient mindset. In addition to engaging in positive activities, it's also essential to limit exposure to sources of negativity. In today's world, it's easy to become overwhelmed by negative news, social media comparisons, or toxic relationships. While it's important to stay informed and connected, it's equally important to set boundaries around the amount of negativity you allow into your life. This might mean taking a break from social media, limiting your consumption of distressing news, or distancing yourself from people who consistently bring you down. Learning to manage your mood is an ongoing process that requires self-awareness, patience, and practice. It's about understanding the role that thoughts, physical well-being, and external influences play in shaping your emotional state, and then taking proactive steps to manage those influences. By recognizing that you have the power to influence your mood, you can develop the skills needed to navigate life's ups and downs with greater emotional stability and resilience. Managing your mood is not about suppressing emotions or pretending that everything is fine when it isn't. It's about learning to acknowledge and accept your emotions while also taking control of how you respond to them. Disciplining your finances is one of the most crucial aspects of building a stable and successful life. Money, while not the only ingredient for happiness, is undeniably a key factor in determining the quality of life you can afford. It impacts your ability to pursue your goals, care for your loved ones, and create the freedom to enjoy the things that matter most. Financial discipline isn't simply about having a lot of money, it's about managing the money you have in a way that creates security, opportunities, and ultimately peace of mind. Many people struggle with money not because they don't earn enough, but because they haven't learned to manage it effectively. This lack of discipline can lead to financial stress, debt, and missed opportunities. To build a life of financial freedom, you must develop a disciplined approach to how you earn, spend, save, and invest. One of the first steps toward financial discipline is cultivating an understanding of the value of money. Too often, people treat money as something that is either elusive or something that comes and goes without much thought. They work hard to earn it but don't think strategically about how they use it. Without this understanding, money can easily slip through your fingers no matter how much you earn. Financial discipline begins with acknowledging that money is a tool, and like any tool, it must be used wisely to achieve the desired results. Every dollar you earn has potential, and how you choose to allocate it will determine whether it contributes to your long-term financial success or simply vanishes without a trace. One of the main challenges people face when trying to discipline their finances is distinguishing between needs and wants. This distinction is crucial because our culture often encourages spending on things that bring immediate gratification, even if those things aren't necessary or beneficial in the long run. Advertising, social media, and peer pressure can all contribute to the feeling that we need to keep up with others or that we deserve to indulge in luxuries, even when those purchases are not financially sound. Financial discipline requires the ability to resist these temptations and make decisions based on what truly matters. This doesn't mean you can't enjoy life or treat yourself from time to time, but it does mean making conscious decisions about when and how to spend your money, always prioritizing your financial goals over short-term desires. A fundamental aspect of disciplining your finances is budgeting. A budget is a roadmap for how you plan to use your money, and without one, it's easy to lose track of where your money is going. Many people avoid budgeting because they see it as restrictive, but in reality, a budget is a tool that gives you control over your finances. It helps you allocate your money in ways that align with your priorities, whether that's paying off debt, saving for a home, or investing in your future. Budgeting allows you to see the bigger picture of your finances, helping you avoid impulsive decisions and stay focused on your long-term goals. To create a budget, start by assessing your income and expenses. This requires a clear understanding of what you bring in each month and where your money is currently going. Many people are surprised when they take a close look at their spending and realize how much they are wasting on non-essential items. By tracking your spending, you can identify areas where you can cut back and redirect that money toward more meaningful financial goals. A key part of budgeting is prioritizing essential expenses such as housing, utilities, and groceries, while setting limits on discretionary spending such as dining out, entertainment, or shopping. Once you've created a budget, the next step in disciplining your finances is to establish a savings plan. Saving money is one of the most important habits for long-term financial success, but it's also one that many people struggle with. The temptation to spend often outweighs the desire to save, especially when the rewards of saving aren't immediate. However, building a savings cushion is essential for financial security. It provides a safety net in case of emergencies, such as unexpected medical bills, car repairs, or job loss, and it creates opportunities for future investments, such as buying a home or starting a business. Without savings, you are constantly vulnerable to financial setbacks, and this vulnerability can create a cycle of stress and instability. To develop a savings habit, it's important to treat saving as a non-negotiable expense, just like paying your rent or mortgage. Instead of saving whatever is left over after you've spent your money, make saving a priority by setting aside a specific amount or percentage of your income each month. One of the most effective ways to do this is by automating your savings. Set up a system where a portion of your paycheck is automatically deposited into a savings account, so you don't even have to think about it. Another crucial aspect of financial discipline is managing debt. Debt can be a significant burden, preventing you from reaching your financial goals and creating stress that affects your overall well-being. While not all debt is bad, such as a mortgage or student loans that can help you invest in your future high-interest consumer debt, such as credit card debt, can quickly spiral out of control if not managed properly. The key to managing debt is to be proactive and disciplined in your approach. This means avoiding unnecessary debt whenever possible and creating a plan to pay off existing debt as quickly as possible. One of the first steps in managing debt is understanding the terms of your debt, including interest rates and payment schedules. High-interest debt, such as credit card balances, should be prioritized because the longer it takes to pay off, the more it will cost you in interest. To accelerate your debt repayment, consider using strategies such as the snowball method, where you focus on paying off smaller debts first, or the avalanche method, where you prioritize debts with the highest interest rates. Both methods can help you stay motivated by giving you a clear plan and milestones to work toward. Additionally, it's important to avoid taking on new debt while you're working to pay off existing debt. This requires discipline in your spending habits and a commitment to living within your means. In addition to saving and managing debt, financial discipline also involves planning for the future through investing. Investing is one of the most effective ways to build wealth over time, but it requires patience, knowledge, and discipline. Many people shy away from investing because they see it as risky or complex, but the truth is that investing is essential for growing your money and achieving long-term financial goals. Whether you're investing in stocks, bonds, real estate, or retirement accounts, the key is to start early and stay consistent. Even small, regular contributions can grow significantly over time thanks to the power of compound interest. To be a disciplined investor, it's important to have a clear strategy and stick to it, even when the market experiences volatility. Many people make the mistake of trying to time the market or reacting emotionally to short-term fluctuations, but successful investing requires a long-term perspective. Rather than focusing on daily market movements, disciplined investors stay focused on their long-term goals and make decisions based on sound financial principles, such as diversification and risk tolerance. By maintaining a disciplined approach to investing, you can build a portfolio that grows steadily over time and helps you achieve financial independence. Another important component of financial discipline is understanding the importance of delayed gratification. In a world where it's easy to access credit and make instant purchases, many people struggle with the concept of waiting to achieve their financial goals. However, the ability to delay gratification is one of the most important traits for financial success. It means making short-term sacrifices such as cutting back on discretionary spending in order to achieve long-term rewards such as financial security, debt freedom, or the ability to retire comfortably. Delayed gratification requires discipline, but it also brings a sense of satisfaction and accomplishment as you work toward your goals. Financial discipline is not about deprivation or living a life of constant sacrifice. Instead, it's about making intentional choices that align with your values and long-term goals. It's about taking control of your financial future rather than letting external pressures or impulses dictate your spending and saving habits. By developing a disciplined approach to your finances, you can create a life of financial stability, reduce stress, and open the door to greater opportunities. This discipline allows you to weather financial storms, seize new opportunities, and enjoy the peace of mind that comes from knowing you are in control of your financial destiny. Intentional living is about taking control of your life, making conscious choices that align with your values, goals, and desires. In a world full of distractions, obligations, and pressures from all sides, many people drift through life without truly considering the direction they are heading or the decisions they are making. They react to circumstances, get caught up in the rush of daily routines, and fall into habits that don't necessarily serve their long-term happiness or fulfillment. Living intentionally, however, means stepping out of that autopilot mode and choosing to design your life with purpose. It's about being mindful of your actions, understanding the reasons behind your decisions, and aligning your daily behaviors with the larger vision of the life you want to create. The first step toward intentional living is becoming clear on what you truly want. Many people go through life pursuing goals that were handed down to them by society, family, or peers without stopping to ask themselves whether those goals reflect their true desires. Intentional living requires deep introspection and honesty with yourself. What do you value most in life? What brings you joy and fulfillment? What kind of person do you want to become? These are not easy questions, and they may require you to confront uncomfortable truths about your current lifestyle, career, or relationships. But without clarity on what truly matters to you, it's impossible to live intentionally. Once you've gained clarity on your values and desires, the next step is to align your actions with those values. This alignment is the essence of intentional living. It means that everything you do, from the way you spend your time to the choices you make in your relationships or career, reflects what you care about most. It's easy to say that you value certain things, but if your daily actions don't reflect those values, you're not living intentionally. For example, you might say that family is your top priority, but if you're constantly working late and rarely making time for your loved ones, there's a disconnect between your values and your actions. Similarly, if you say you value personal growth but spend most of your free time on mindless entertainment, you're not aligning your actions with your true desires. Living intentionally also involves recognizing that every choice you make has consequences, both positive and negative, and accepting responsibility for those choices. It's easy to fall into a victim mentality where you feel that life is happening to you rather than by you. But intentional living requires a shift in perspective. Instead of blaming external circumstances for your situation, you take ownership of your decisions and their outcomes. This doesn't mean that you can control everything that happens to you. Life will always throw unexpected challenges your way, but it does mean that you can control how you respond to those challenges. By taking responsibility for your life, you empower yourself to create the outcomes you desire rather than waiting for things to change on their own. Another key aspect of intentional living is the ability to say no. Many people struggle with this because they feel obligated to meet others' expectations, avoid conflict, or please those around them. But living intentionally means being selective about where you invest your time, energy, and attention. If you say yes to every request, invitation, or opportunity that comes your way, you'll quickly find yourself overwhelmed, distracted, and unable to focus on what truly matters to you. Saying no is not about being selfish or dismissive of others. It's about protecting your time and ensuring that you have the energy and resources to invest in the things that are most important to you. When you say no to something that doesn't align with your values or goals, you're actually saying yes to a life that is more meaningful and fulfilling. Intentional living also requires the courage to embrace change. When you live with intention, you might discover that certain aspects of your life no longer serve you. This could be a job that drains your energy, a relationship that no longer aligns with your values, or habits that are holding you back from reaching your full potential. Recognizing that change is necessary can be difficult, but intentional living means having the courage to let go of what no longer serves you and make room for something better. This doesn't mean making impulsive decisions or abandoning responsibilities, but it does mean being willing to evaluate your life regularly and make adjustments when necessary. Living intentionally is also about being present in the moment. It's easy to get caught up in worrying about the future or dwelling on the past, but intentional living requires you to focus on the here and now. This doesn't mean ignoring your long-term goals or pretending that the past doesn't matter, but it does mean being mindful of how you spend your time and energy in the present. When you live in the present, you're more aware of your thoughts, emotions, and actions, which allows you to make more conscious choices. It also helps you appreciate the small moments of joy and beauty that are often overlooked when you're constantly focused on what's next. Intentional living involves cultivating a sense of gratitude for what you already have. In a world that constantly encourages you to want more money, more success, more possessions, it's easy to lose sight of the abundance that already exists in your life. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's lacking to what's present, and it fosters a sense of contentment and peace. When you're grateful for what you have, you're less likely to make decisions based on fear or scarcity. Instead, you can approach life from a place of abundance and make choices that align with your true desires rather than being driven by external pressures or fear of missing out. Another important aspect of intentional living is setting clear goals. While living in the present is important, intentional living also involves having a vision for the future and working toward that vision with purpose and determination. Goals give you direction and help you stay focused on what matters most, but it's not enough to simply set vague or general goals. Intentional living requires setting specific, measurable, and realistic goals that align with your values and long-term desires. It's important to break these goals down into actionable steps and create a plan for how you will achieve them. This plan should be flexible, allowing for adjustments along the way, but it should also provide structure and accountability. To live intentionally, you must also be mindful of the people you surround yourself with. The relationships in your life have a profound impact on your thoughts, actions, and overall well-being. When you're surrounded by people who support your values and encourage your growth, it becomes easier to live with intention. On the other hand, if you're surrounded by negativity, toxic relationships, or people who don't align with your goals, it can be challenging to stay focused on your path. Intentional living involves being selective about the relationships you invest in and creating boundaries with people who don't support your vision. This doesn't mean cutting people out of your life without reason, but it does mean being mindful of the influence that others have on your thoughts and behaviors. Another key element of intentional living is the practice of self-care. Many people view self-care as a luxury or something that can only be pursued after all other responsibilities are taken care of, but intentional living requires you to prioritize your well-being. When you take care of your physical, emotional, and mental health, you're better equipped to live in alignment with your values and pursue your goals with energy and focus. Self-care can take many forms, from regular exercise and a healthy diet to meditation, time spent in nature, or simply taking a break when you need it. The key is to make self-care a regular part of your routine, rather than something you do only when you're feeling burned out. The key is to make self-care a regular part of your routine, rather than something you do only when you're feeling burned out.